So what's going on? It's Bueno again, and today I'll be talking about the difference between love and war. For all the nations and all the religions that are part of the nations, you don't know what the hell you're talking about since I was a baby. You have the audacity to call Catholicism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism in its foundation, Hinduism in its foundation, love. It was not until those groups had been defeated religiously that now societally they're calm and peaceful. You can look at the history of all the nations and the religions that are there, and you can find since the very beginning they were at one time or are still warring people or children, adults, willing to go and make war in the name of their religion with physical guns, knives, bombs, just like the Hamas and the state of Israel right now for the last how many months without a God to call on with a powerful name that freed them out of Africa with my ancestors. You catch that? Because all the societies are the same liars. All the governments all lie in the name of their flag, and all the religions are connected to a flag in one way or another. Yes, they are. It's really not hard to distinguish the difference between love and hate, or love and war, peace and war. It's really easy. Love is love. Love is not divorce. Love is not a whole bunch of sex partners. Love is not yelling. Love is not punching, kicking. It's really easy. The greatest example of love is a woman who has laid down with a man to have a baby with him knowingly, and for the 9 months she eats healthy, she's stretching, and when the baby is ready to come out, the two parents, go see the OBGYN, and they watch and help each other as the baby's ready to come out and stay together for the sake of the baby in love between them. This is like the perfect relationship without child support or anything else. And it doesn't happen often, but this is because society is made to create an environment where love is not exuded normally. Meanwhile, even though society makes it where you have to choose between buying a carton of eggs or buying a 2% milk or 1% milk or whatever, a jug of milk, over, what other substances that can be, beneficial for the household, a Glade plug-in, I'm thinking a Glade plug-in, single with a charger costs like six something dollars, and where I stay right now on my island, you know, a milk is like $6 and some change. So you have to choose between, do I want my apartment or house to smell fresh when people come in, or do I want to get calcium? This is not love. It's legislative, but it's not love. There's so many different perspectives and aspects where I can exemplify the difference, but I'm going to stick to my original purpose of speaking the difference between love and war. Love is itself. The only reflection of love is love. Hate is not a reflection of love. Anger, yelling, vehemence is not a reflection of love. Love reflects itself. Hatred reflects itself too. This is why you often see children who were in hateful environments grow up to be hateful people as well. Maybe a child might have experienced just enough love in a hateful environment to be kind of two toned. And when I say that, I mean that child may have undertones of loving and peacefulness, but they still go into a field which is warring in the name of the flag to make war against other nations, and they fight with their whole heart, not just to save themselves, but also to express the hate they felt always in a real life situation, meaning that instead of playing Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Ghost Recon, they actually go in war with other people in real life to redeem the hatred that was expressed during their lifetime in adult fashion, which is being part of the military or whatever type of armed force. Am I making sense? Love also doesn't have fear involved in it. The difference between fear and love is that fear is fear and love is love. Love is more expressible by hatred of self or others than it is relatable to love. Because where there is fear, there's no love. I believe this is like First John chapter 4, verse 18 onward. And outside of the Bible, it's just obvious. It's as to say that every single religion on the earth that calls itself a religion of love has. I need to be careful and look around because I was shot a couple months ago 8 times for preaching the same message. So I'm gonna make sure that nobody's hiding in their bed. Hold on. Okay, so but truthfully, every single religion has its presence inside of every single military branch. That means in the army, there's Christians, Muslims, Jews, Catholics, Buddhists. Same with the Marines, in the Air Force, in the Navy. Someone called me a liar. Imagine that every single military force branch has every single type of religious person inside of it, plus non heterosexual males or females, specifically males. And this is something that represents love or spawns from love, meaning that, again, I've spoken about this before, but I'm going to go a little bit in depth because I have more time to talk here. Inside of the Army, Marines, Air Force, and Navy, you can find a non heterosexual man, a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew, an atheist, a witch, agnostic, altogether. There's no lying because I don't lie and I've lived on bases, Air Force and Army bases. So I have, with my own eyes and ears, witnessed and spoken to people on the base or bases where I've lived in the fashion that I just expressed. And not only that, you have racist, you have black power people, you have Bloods, Crips, Serranos, Norteños, Asian gangs, other Latin gangs, European gangs, members, etc. Now, this is not to point a finger at the military or those people that are the religion inside the military. It just helps the children understand that the military is not love. The Army is not love. The Marines is not love. The Navy is not love. The Air Force is not love. Special Forces is not love. It might be societally something that stands out to have you feel drawn to it by all the toys, GI Joes that you grew up, seeing the 12-inch, GI Joe with a little plastic gun, whatever, until you melted it. Like Toy Story with the magnifying glass. The whole figure goes, right? But this is not love. It's subjectively hatred in the process of all the nations proposing that you should initially have your parents buy you a $3, $4 toy that has a plastic gun and plastic soldier appearance when you've never experienced this, and then watch movies that also exude this type of characteristic, warring, not loving, because no one wants to be John Lennon, no one wants to be Martin Luther King, no one wants to be Malcolm X, no one wants to be Che Guevara, no one wants to be, because statistically, they've all been gunned down for preaching a message that was anti-government or anti-religion, etc. And there's many other people to name. As far as women go, Joan of Arc, I love her. She's one of the greatest figures that that show you how hateful people can be toward their own race, their own nation, their own religion, etc. back to the toy thing because I just kind of skipped a topic a little bit. So basically, you receive a toy that has the gun, the plastic gun, and as a child, you're watching movies, World War II, Black Hawk Down, whatever. You have this toy in the movie, and the movie shows you images, and the toy is the images that you create by watching the movie, which to kill and to be violent. You never understand this until I speak it into existence here in this video, because no one's making videos like this to help you understand the tie between a toy, a G.I. Joe, a fighter jet, a fighter tank, war movies, and you being enlisted into the military so you can go die as a Christian, as a Muslim, with a non-heterosexual witch, devil worshiper, all in the same platoon or brigade or whatever. Does it make sense? This is not love. I'll do a whole nother video based off of what I'm saying against the military as far as that goes. But right now, we're just talking about the difference between love and hate. I hope that I expressed something that sparked interest in you to understand that all I'm doing is speaking the truth into the presence of those whose ears and hearts are open to understand the difference between love, peace, and compared to hate and death. All the nations claim that they're peaceful people and loving. Let's take Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Now let's look at just yesterday. How many murders happened there? We can take this town that I stay in on my island. It's called Ponce, Puerto Rico. The name of the title in Spanish is the Pueblo de Dios. I was shot 8 times, including in the trachea from very close range in the town of God. Let's take the city of God, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Permiso, bom dia. We can just look at the news yesterday. How many murders, how many rapes, how many whatever happened. It's right there on Google. Am I making sense? Let's take the Vatican. The Vatican doesn't report a lot, but there's enough. So let's go look at the Vatican yesterday of drug overdose or death by means of a firearm, or the last pedophile case that happened there. Am I making sense? And let's go to Jerusalem. Let's look at the last death that happened there by murder, execution. Let's go look at the last time they celebrated Pride Month in the people of God's location, Jerusalem, Israel. Am I making sense? All you have to do, children, teens, adults, is pay attention to what is the truth. Love and peace are not hate and war. War is not the same as peace. Every single nation would say, we are peaceful people. Our flag represents peace. If all the flags represented peace, then together they would all be white flags, because the white flag is a sign of peace, isn't it? Meanwhile, the flags, all of them, are for what? To be united as nations and fight against other nations in the name of their flag, which is not love or peace. Every single flag is connected to another flag who uses NATO or the United Nations, even their defense agency, which is militaristic, to achieve the encountering of bullets and weapons that can be used to embark on non-peaceful, non-loving missions. Which is to say, for many of you who don't have any understanding, that NATO, which is around a 7.62 round, which obviously there's other rounds, but this is like a famous NATO round, is also used by the same people who claim that they're peaceful, the United Nations and the Geneva Convention as well. And not just those, but every single government on the earth as well. This is how you get the FEMA and the reserves, etc. They're people on standby in case their nation, which is peaceful, needs to make war in the name of who? God, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, or a flag and its prideful, loving people, humble, loving, warring people. All the nations. You did a bad job hiding your true selves from me as a child. So I'll do a great job at disclosing and disposing of you with my as an adult. You should be mad. And imagine that you would have the audacity to shoot at me or be mad about me revealing the truth against all your nations, from Puerto Rico to America, America to Spain, Spain to China, China to Russia, Russia to Israel, Israel to all parts of Africa, Africa to all Latin America, Latin America to all Europe. You, your flags, your nation, your religions have always been the same my whole life. Lying, saying that you're peaceful people when you have signs all over your nation to come buy guns to protect your property, which is temporarily, which you can't take with you to heaven. But yet and still, you peaceful people, especially the pastors' wives, and all the members, congresses of all types of religions, arm yourself just like who? You arm yourself with weapons just like who? Am I going to be the first person to say that I've never had possession of a gun? Or no, I wouldn't, but I would say that the only way that I would feel like I needed a gun or a weapon is if God provoked me to the point where I understood that it was go time, and I, for the sake of God, if needed to be of service for the true cause of God, which is love and peace. And this can also be really manipulative for religious that say, oh, we're fighting a spiritual war or whatever, but truthfully not the greatest way. Oh wow, we have the Hamas war between the state of Israel. Now I want you to think about the two nations and the religions they represent. When, since the war started between the state of Israel and Palestine, has either side called upon their God to fight against the other side's gods and people? Case closed. Now let's continue with talking about love. Did I stutter? Now, love is so easy to understand because love is love. Love is not pedophilic like the Vatican. Love is not prejudice like all the nations. Love is not hateful. Love is not warring. Love does not make war the same way that humans make war. The state of Israel and Palestine, the Hamas, use human weapons, meaning that they were made and crafted by humans. I don't care about the fallen angels crap. Every single nation and every single religion has access to weapons created by human imagination that could literally, potentially destroy the whole earth if they were to go off altogether. Nuclear weapons, atomic weapons, Nagasaki, Hiroshima. Imagine that's love. Imagine an atomic nuclear weapon is love. Imagine a drone strike is love or comes from the foundation of love. Imagine that this war between two nations who have never had their gods is a sign of love and peace. Imagine these two nations saying that their religions are peaceful religions, but they have access to guns and bombs and explosives to make war in the name of their guns attached to flags, attached to nations who are named after the flag, who are associated with religions that fight in the name of the government, which is a representation of the flag, which is not immaterial, but it does not breathe by its own. So you could say that the breath of the flag is hateful, prejudice, warring, wicked people who justify making war in the name of the flag and the government by using contextual religious doctrine, dogma, to inspire children to be just like the nation and its flag who make war openly but under the guise of being peaceful, loving people. And then seeing my video would say, we need to knock him off. We need to get rid of him. He's dangerous. He's telling the truth against us. He's revealing us as ourselves. This Bueno Cordero needs to be struck down, killed off, because he's telling the truth against us who have told lies and tried to enlist Bueno into the Annapolis Naval Academy, because Bueno obviously could have had a full ride to Annapolis, etc. And I'll be the first one to say that I understand some military operations. But the foundation of it all is that love and peace are not war and hate. Are they? For every single nation with COVID, you would in some way say yes. Hate is from the source which God made before God exemplified hatred against Adam and Eve disobeying God. This is not true. Love and peace are itself. There is a divide between hate and war. Every single nation, government, and all the flags associated with every religion are exactly what you deserve and what is coming to you. What is written in the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Purana, all the text, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and everything that can be documented and everything that's not documented. You have earned this by being hateful, warring, deceitful, wicked people in the name of flags that cannot breathe and are buried on and in the grave of your manipulated people, members of your society, starting when they're children by Hollywood videos, etc., etc. Or my name is not Bueno Cordero, Cordero's lamb. I'm not Jesus Christ. So figure it out. More so for my people, the Hebrews, if and you are married into wicked families, now is a good time for you to think about what's going to happen. You'll not be able to come into our inheritance as part of that family that's wicked. And say so, same so for the adopted, all the nations as individuals who have to repent to enter into Zion. Repent against flag, country, government, religion, society, everything. Literally, Jesus denied working as a carpenter. Jesus denied his mother, his adopted mother, his adopted father, Joseph, who is the sperm relative of David. Meanwhile, Jesus is a sperm relative of who? Exactly, clowns, etc., etc. You, the adopted people, will have to declare war, literally holy war, against all the nations you were once part of, the flag, the government, the military, etc., to be counted as those who are adopted, who can cry out to Abba, Father, Jehovah, Yahweh, YHVH, YHWH. These are all titles. You learned this during COVID, along with the name of all names, the nombre sobre nombres. You learned all these names are just titles that can't save your life. Didn't you? Good job. Now is a good time for you to think, again, like my last video, are you a sheep or are you a goat? Are you a flag with a flag in the government, or are you with God and his people? You need to think about this and know about this securely, because a moment is coming upon the whole earth way more outstanding than COVID. When I say outstanding, I mean I was shot in the spine and I might have to do repeated backflips and some head fin, airfield, windmill, backspins to a pause when this comes into the, to fruition completely, when it is fruitified, beautified. I'm working on my English junctions. Anyways, do you understand what I'm saying? You're going to have to make the decision. Are you pro God or are you pro world? You cannot ride the fence. This is why we have James chapter 4 verse 4. The world will teach you different. They'll say, oh yes, I'm a pastor and I support war in Iraq or Palestine as a Christian pastor, as a Muslim imam. This is incorrect. I don't care what you say. Love is love. Peace is peace. God is God to exact and enact vengeance against his enemies. It's not easy to understand, especially when you're without an arm, unless God tells you to get an arm in a world full of people who have access to grenades, fully automatic, 100 round, 70 round, 30 round handguns, whatever, in your, wherever you're at in the world around you, doesn't care about God by their actions and the words that they inhale from God and exhale out of their heart to exemplify how distant they are from love and peace. Don't let this, especially the children, don't let this be something that makes you fall spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Stay forever forward, desiring to be in the will of God, and it will come to be so. And for all you adults who have your lifelong proposed in the presence of children that hate and war and gangs and death and killing can be justified because someone wants to steal from you or whatever else, we're going to get there. But a lot of people who are called to, like I was just watching the news where somebody was saying, was this defense or not? Somebody was trying to steal their car and they killed them in the process. To each their own. We're going to get to judgment and understand what is of God and what is not. For any child, especially children that can listen, love and peace are not hate and war. War means that there's some type of death there. In the Islamic Muslim religion, there are different types of jihad. One type of jihad is the internal jihad. I learned this because I was going to, Islamic meetings when I was in prison. I would go to all different religions and listen to what they had to say. And I really enjoyed going to the Islamic meetings because I understand what the internal jihad or war is. It's, like I said, someone deciding, am I going to be rocking out with God's people as his people, not as a goat trying to sneak around and get caught and get busted down. Whoa, that's, but actually as a sheep that's operating in the sheepfold of God who comes in through the gates as a sheep in comparison to the people who are goats, goaty, disobedient, who will try to justify their nation, their flag, their military, their religions that have part in the militaries as the religions that claim on earth that they are good for children. Imagine that a religion that promotes death and hate and war at any level societally is good for a child to learn, while you make GI Joes and toys to provoke a child to become part of a military that allows religions inside of it, all the religions, to fight in the name of their self. I'm going to do another video about that later, but I think I've made a great outstanding mark in the children's life and the adult's life. And if you don't like it, I can't stop you from being hateful, but my God can. So I would encourage you to be as hateful and mad about my message that you want to be, because I don't know how to lie anymore, because I'm not a lying child or a fibbing child, because I know the difference morally between good and wrong. Do you? Imagine that you're a pastor, a minister, an imam, a synagogue, a temple, church, whatever, and you have the audacity to be vaccinated because you don't have a God and realize it now, and masked because you don't have a God, and supporting war and hate and death in the presence of innocent babies, children, preteens, prepubescent, whatever, adolescents, and call yourself people of God. You should be damned ashamed of yourself. My name is Bueno Cordero, and I am the sperm relative of King David. Can you tell? Well, let me stand up and do the diddy bop for you one time. You all need to repent unless you're living the life that you know is right. This message is just some encouragement. And for the children, you could look around your household, your family, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt, the pastors, the world. You can look on Google, YouTube, and see right from wrong. If my message strikes a place inside you to motivate you to be loving and peaceful, then imagine that what I'm saying is loving and peaceful, not warring, hateful, and death. But there are people on the earth who would want and desire and pay and hope that I would die, to try to poison me, to shoot me with a rifle, a handgun, whatever, a laser, a bomb, whatever, who would pray and try to work witchcraft, candles, botanica, whatever, magic, and chicanteria, whatever crap against me. It doesn't matter. God has called me to give you this message, so I pray that this message finds the right people, the right children, the right adults, and you can distinguish between hate, love, and death, and life, love, and eternity, which is a gift from God. Amen. My name is... Hi.